Good Nacht. What's up, guys? Today I'm going to be talking about Taika Waititi, the guy who directed Thor Ragnarok, his latest film, the satire about World War II, Jojo Rabbit. So Jojo Rabbit, this was actually a hard movie to see because they said it was released about a month ago and then I would never see showings in my area, and I finally got around to seeing it. So the plot of this film, Jojo Rabbit is about a boy, go figure, named Jojo. He's living in Nazi Germany during the later stages of World War II, and him and all of his buddies are training to become fierce Nazi warriors. Jojo's mom, played by Scarlett Johansson, she's kind of indifferent on the war. She's not the biggest fan. She thinks there's a way to solve this without all of the crazy fighting and killing. And Jojo, he's definitely not a killer. And the way he gets his name, which is a mild spoiler, but all these higher ups in the Hitler Youth are trying to give him this rabbit. And he says, wring its neck and we'll know you're a fierce warrior. And he just chickens out and doesn't decide to do it. So they all nickname him Jojo Rabbit. So regardless, Jojo's feeling conflicted about what to do this entire film, whether to hate Jews, whether to just love one another, or just give up and run away. So to help him make decisions, he has this imaginary friend played by Taika Waititi, which coincidentally is Adolf Hitler himself. His imaginary friend Adolf will give him advice about how to become a fierce warrior. He'll tell him all the crazy stuff about Jews, like they have horns. Something happens earlier in the film to Jojo, which makes him not be able to participate in all this Nazi training. So the whole movie is about Jojo figuring out what's right, what's wrong, and yes, this is a black comedy, so there's a ton of hilarious moments in this film. But overall, there's a lot of very serious moments too, harsh realities. Yes, this stuff did happen. Perhaps in a different way, but still, regardless, it has an overall message. Sam Rockwell and Rebel Wilson are in this film, and they play these over-the-top, quirky German instructor leaders for these Hitler Youths, and they're just comedy gold. Sam Rockwell, if you haven't got a taste of how he was in Iron Man 2 or Galaxy Quest, then you're in for a treat with this movie. Rebel Wilson, she's hit or miss. Like, I loved her in the first two Pitch Perfect films. We won't talk about the third one. And picture this, an Australian girl playing a German chick. Like, who would have thought? And Scarlett Johansson, I really liked her in this movie because she had a lot of purpose and she had a lot of beliefs she felt strongly about. And it was just very different than a lot of the other indie films I've been seeing her doing. She's been doing these artsy, fartsy movies that are really dumb. I forget that one movie where she accessed more percentage of her brain power and then was like God moded like 20 minutes into the movie. Ugh. So this is definitely a role besides Black Widow from her that I actually really loved. One of the biggest overall messages in this film is that, as shown in the trailers, Jojo finds out that there's a Jewish girl hiding away in his house. It could be a nod to Anne Frank. That's what I think they're going for. Her name's not Anne in the film, but I'm pretty sure that's what they're trying to get at. But regardless, her name is Elsa, and she's hiding in Jojo's house, and just to see how their arc progresses, like I said, he's interrogating her, asking her the secrets of the Jews, if Jews have magic, and all these other crazy theories about Jewish people, like they'll give them the plague and all this other stuff. And it really shows us how absurd and obnoxious things can get and how warped people's minds can get by just rumors and gossip. How many of you guys have seen articles posted online and you just share them without even clicking them? It's because people believe nonsense and BS and people act on those sometimes. But Taika Waititi is really trying to just tell people that if you just take the time and truly examine something, you might see it in a different light. There's also the character of Yorkie in this film, and this kid's just a delight. He's like a fat little, I'm pretty sure he's British in this movie, but whatever. He's like a fat little, like, Harry Potter looking kid. He's just adorable. I rarely talk about political stuff in my channel because I'm just generally not interested in it, but this movie is social justice done right. There's so many things that blatantly go out of their way to just be the focal point of their film, but this, it's just an underlying message throughout this whole movie. Like, obviously everyone knows, yes, Nazis were bad people and there's still some today and they're terrible. This movie doesn't portray all Germans as bad because they're not. I mean, a lot of social justice things like to peg everything on one group. Like I said, I won't get into it, but Black Lives Matter, Blue Lives Matter, they all try to point fingers and stuff like that. But no, like, this is saying not everyone is just stereotyped or just thrown into one group. There's Germans who didn't want to be a part of the war. There's people that just wanted to dance the night away, get the hell out of there. They wanted peace. They wanted everything to just be fine. Taika Waititi did an excellent job. This is definitely one of my top films of this year. And I know I'm actually saying that about a lot of movies. There's been a lot of quality films this year. And there's been a lot of shit, but I'll get into that at the end of the year. For those of you who know me, no, I didn't like Taika Waititi's job on Thor Ragnarok, but I think with this, it does get me a little bit more intrigued for Thor Love and Thunder. I mean, if you're one of those people who are easily offended by everything and oversensitive, you might not get or understand this movie. There's scenes which I thought were hilarious. It'd be like, what were you doing in here? Before I just walked in. He's like, oh, nothing. Me and the boy were just hailing Hitler. I'm like, oh shit. So regardless of this movie being a satirical black comedy, Taika Waititi has the perfect blend of humor, action, love, heart, and all around seriousness to make just a very impactful, funny film. The soundtrack is worth noting too. A lot of the songs are a lot of classic songs you've heard throughout history, but sung in German. Famous David Bowie songs, famous Beatles songs. It's weird, as I've gotten older, I've developed a higher appreciation for more indie films because I've seemed to realize a lot of these Hollywood blockbusters, not all of them, but a lot of them are crap. Guys, please give Jojo Rabbit a chance. The box office to budget ratio, it's a little iffy, but that can be changed. Amazing work by Taika Waititi, Rebel Wilson, Sam Rockwell, and the rest of the cast. For an independent film, the actual war scenes were pretty well done. You got to see a lot of the harsh realities that happened in Nazi Germany during those times. And best of all, you got to see how a little child who's 10 years old growing up in that era perceived Adolf Hitler as an imaginary friend. My only gripes I can really think of is, like, there's times when Rebel Wilson and Taika Waititi are talking and they're trying to do their German accents, and Rebel's Australian accent or Taika's New Zealand accent are just slowly creeping through. I don't know if that's intentional or not, just to make the Germans sound over the top because it's a black comedy. I don't know. I saw it with 4 of my buddies and all of them agreed Jojo Rabbit gets a perfect 10 out of 10.